Alright guys, we're back with the 2011 Nissan Murano. We were able to track down the two lower control arms. We're gonna replace the two front lower control arms, the two rear struts, and while we're at it, we're gonna replace these links here. So there's a lot of videos on the lower control arm removal, but they all have an issue lining this up. If you've ever done like a Nissan Altima, it's a pain to line this back one up. So it seems like that's the hardest issue, is lining it up. So I'm really just gonna see if I can figure out a way to maybe lift this whole front part somehow, so that we can clear down there. For sure your sway bar link hits. The way I did it on the Altima is I put a little pry bar under the sway bar and I lift it up a little bit, just so I could get that clearance to line these bushings up. But you can't do that if your link is in place, so that's why I'm going to remove the link. Hopefully that makes it easier for me. And yeah, we're just going to install our new links once the control arm is in. But it's that bolt there, and that bolt there, and then obviously the one on the knuckle here. But alright, let's get our tools ready, and we're going to decide how we're going to attack this. But yeah, I think I'm gonna remove my links. As you can see, look at that sway bar link. This is the plate. For your control arm to go in perfectly smooth, it has to be where the sway bar link is. So that's why I'm gonna pry it up. That way I don't have to go in at such an angle. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, let's see what we learned from this. And then the back, they say it's easy. We'll find that out. Okay, guys, we're getting ready to start taking the bolts out. Those are both 21 on both sides. Our links are 18 and 19. 18 for the nut, and then these actually have a nut in the back where you can hold it so it doesn't spin, which is good, or else you have to cut them off. It's a pain with these links. But here's all our parts. We got our rear shocks, we got our front links, we got both of our control arms. There's the part number for the control arm. There's our links. There's our shocks. So it was 500 for the control arms, 150 for the shocks, and like 100 and something for the links. These are the basic shocks. If you want the more expensive ones, they're 120 a piece. And nobody really carried the control arms or the shocks besides AutoZone and Napa. Advanced didn't really have anything, so we're like around 700-ish, $800 in parts alone. So yeah, around $800 plus labor. Man, if you had to take it to the dealer, man. But all right, let's get to it. I'm just gonna spray everything down. And then we'll get started. Alright guys, making progress. At the bottom, link out. This one's giving me some issues. I have to muscle that one out, but at least the bottom part is out, and I can move the sway bar up and down a little bit. We don't have impacts, no air impacts, nothing. No, all by hand. Breaker bar, socket, a small 21 up there, big 21 down here. 1/2-inch ratchet. That's how we're gonna get it out. Muscle it out. Alright, all we literally have is a 19, 18, 221s. That's all we're using right now, and a couple of breaker bars, pipe, a little pipe bar. But yeah, literally hold the top one hand, ratchet the bottom until we get it out, and we'll do that both sides. The 18-inch down here, I already got the nut out. I'm just gonna push that bolt out, and that one's ready to go. Alright, let's just get these bolts on, and then the whole part can come out. Alright, there it is, guys. That's our first control arm out. Now, it would be nice if you had a pickle fork. That way you could just pop the ball joint from the hub here. But if you don't, I mean, just kind of pry it. Swing it out this way first, and then you can do your ball joint last. But there it is, guys, it's out. I'm just gonna clean all this up. and then we're gonna figure out how to get it in there. Okay, here's our new control arm, guys. Make sure you put the right one. Driver's side is your left one. Passenger side is your right one. Make sure if you're in a rusty state like us, make sure you anti-seize your sleeves. Make sure you anti-seize your ball joint here. Make sure you anti-seize your bolts right here so they don't seize up on you later on. Clean up your threads with a little wire brush before you put them back in. It'll make your life so much easier going in and coming back out if you do end up keeping your car for longer. But alright, let's grease everything up, then we're gonna pop it in there. Alright guys, so I tried putting the control arm without moving the hub, and I just could not clear it. I could not manage to get that sleeve in. It's like the sleeve wants to slide in, but it's like hitting the back of the opening of the metal, so it's not pretty easy to do, and I'm limited on tools. Look at all the tools I got. So another method that I like to use is I just take the hub off of the strut, and then I just tie it up. I raise it and I tie it, and then that gives me enough room to clear that bottom one, and I'm almost right there in the right position. So you just got to get this this strut to go on the side of your axle so you clear it. I got the back one in. I'm gonna try to get that front one in, and then the last one that's gonna go in is gonna be my ball joint. Just be careful you don't let your axle pull out. Don't let this drop. If you let this drop, your axle's gonna pull out and it's gonna pop out of place. And the only way to pop it back into place is taking the little rubber, this little rubber cover here, and you're gonna have to pop those the axle bearings back in. But as long as you keep it close enough, lift it up as high as you can. I'm doing all this by myself, but if you have some help, lift it up and then tie it off. And then I just put my my lug nuts on here, and I use one of these type of straps with the plastic so I don't damage my threads. But alright guys, we're almost there because we wasted enough time trying to do it that other way. I didn't have anything to beat on this thing like the other guys do at the shop, so let's get it in. Alright, so let's just have it on there like that. I got the sleeve to line up from the bottom with the screwdriver. Pull my bolt through. Oh, this back one gave me an issue, guys, but I got it. If anything, let me put this nut on there before it falls back out. Just my luck. Alright, so this one, I had to lift the control arm up, and as I lifted it, I could see the little hole lining up, but I already had this bolt halfway through, so I got it halfway through from the bottom. And then with my leg and my arm, I moved the hub to the side a little bit while I flexed. I grabbed the control arm like this, and I lift it, and I flexed up and down, up and down. And I could see it moving over there, and then with my left hand, I pushed the bolt all the way through until it cleared. But man, now I'm gonna drop the bolt joint in place, and then put my strut on. I did have to remove this. I wish I would have removed this little bracket and the brake hose. It would have made things a lot easier. Just be careful. Be careful you don't nick that. But alright, first one, we're almost there. Alright, this one's done, guys. And this is Duralast Gold. And I did it with the ratchet by hand, and it's stripped. It doesn't tighten up anymore. The nut doesn't tighten up anymore. The one on top, I did with the impact. This one's solid. But this one down here, it just keeps spinning even if I put a L key or anything right here to hold the bolt. it just spins, it doesn't tighten up. Brrr. Alright, but we're done with that one. We're gonna use the same method on the other side. We're gonna take our strut bolts out. We're gonna take our link out. I think it took me just as long to get this link out as it did to take the control arm out. I had to cut it. It got to the point where I was right at the end and it just wouldn't budge. It wouldn't budge from there. And I don't have a torch to heat it up, so I had to cut it off. Luckily I had enough room to get a blade back there. But I hate links. They're always such a pain. Alright, now finally we can do the other side. Jeez, took forever. Alright, let's do this other one. Alright guys, so the front bolt, I lined up the hole with the screwdriver and then I got it in. The control arm is pretty flat, but I still gotta align the top. And then once I get that one in, I'll drop my ball joint, and then this side is done. Just trying to beat the rain. So let's see if we can get it in. Alright guys, for this one, for the one in the front, I used my ratchet impact and I just started spinning it up while I wiggled the control arm up and down, and the bolt just ended up catching through and it just came right up. Now we can drop our ball joint in our hub and then put our strut back together. This one was so much faster than that other one. I wasted so much time struggling on the driver's side. Although without removing this link, it is a little bit harder to get this front one in because you see it hits. So if you do remove the link, remove that bottom one, at least if you can. If you're changing the links, it's even better. But yeah, it hits. You have to tap it past. You have to tap it past that link there to even get the bottom lined up. But alright, guys, using this long pry bar, I literally stuck it in there, and I just straddled this thing. I just put my weight on it, and then I lined up my ball joint and my hub. Relieve some of the tension on the strap so it could drop. It didn't slide right in, but I tapped it into place. Now I'm just gonna tap it in all the way. Then we're gonna put our bolt through, tighten everything up, and we're done with the passenger side. Now this side was way faster. Literally did it all in like 30 something minutes. I struggled because I didn't remove this link, but I still got it. Alright, let's continue. Alright, so if you use the ratchet method, the ratchet strap method, just grab it from your strut here. But yeah, you separate your hub from your strut, and then you just want to move the strut to the side so it doesn't hit the axle. So just push it to the side, but be very careful that you don't damage your brake line or your sensor line, your ABS, when you're ratcheting the hub up. But yeah, this one I did in like 30 minutes, guys. And I didn't remove that link. The only reason why I didn't remove that link was because the one on the other side, the new part was defective. I call it defective because if I go to tighten it and then the nut just strips, and I barely even put any torque on it, I say it's defective. So we're gonna send that one back. And then what I did is I just used my other new one to replace that one, because if you leave it loose like that, every time you hit a pothole or something, you're gonna hear a little noise. I mean, when I get the new one, I'll replace the other side. But yeah, so that's what we did. And then when I tightened these links up, I didn't use the impact. I did it with a ratchet and a wrench. And when you get to the point where it's really tight, the metal that they use to make that part is so soft that you can feel it. I mean, if you over tighten a nut or a bolt, you can feel the metal kind of moving. And even by hand, I felt like if I over tightened it, I was gonna get to that point where, if you go a little bit more, it's just gonna spin free again. That's how it felt, and I don't like it. And it's the gold. It's the best one. But all right, we're done with the front. With that, we're gonna take our rear shocks off and see if we could swap the mounts with no issues and put them on there. All right. That's that. For that. That's the control arm number. This is the lamp number. If these are this cheap, I'll just pay for the cheaper ones. But, alright. We're about to do our struts. Here's the part number for the struts. They're the same for both sides.